Hello. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is S.Y. Liu, and I'm one of the BIM managers at Build.IT. I'm here today to talk to you about using BIM 360 for design, and also what opportunities collaboration with Revit can do for you on your next design project. Just a little bit about me. My background is in architecture, and I've been using BIM personally for several years now, with recent years working with institutional projects and live construction projects with Build.IT. My experience is telling me that it's an exciting time in Hong Kong and for its construction industry. We are seeing more engagement in BIM with more professionals being the key word, getting involved with the BIM modeling, not just the BIM management. It's great to see the growing interest from architects, engineers, and owners taking the initiative to upgrade and improve efficiency and taking advantage of the tools available to us all. The two tools I will talk to you today to help us design better is collaboration with Revit, which is all about getting the latest BIM model to the designers, and BIM 360 team, the cloud solution, giving you the eyes into the BIM model. So the agenda for the next 30 minutes, we'll take a look at where we are now in terms of collaboration and communication. We'll take a look and identify some areas where we can improve our in-house and external teams. Then we'll see what BIM 360 and collaboration for Revit can do for us, how it can help you and your design team to work efficiently and confidently with the BIM model. And we'll wrap up with a look into how other firms have used BIM 360 for design and how it made a difference to their project goals. So where are we now? Who are the Revit users? I wonder how many people in this room have taken a Revit course recently. One of our jobs as designers is to share the design intent. And if you are using Revit to design, then we need to know what is going on inside the BIM model. At the moment, you may not be using Revit to design. You may be using a combination of 2D CAD, SketchUp, and then converting that information into a BIM model. If we are really considering Revit as a design tool, we as designers need the tools to directly influence the BIM model. We have to be confident with the quality of the BIM model, and we have to know that the drawings issued are according to our design. At the moment, we trust our drawings, our CAD drawings, far more than the BIM model, because there is a disconnection. On one hand, we have the designer, and on the other hand, we have a BIM model. From my experience, I have found that when an engineer or an architect gets on board with editing the BIM model directly themselves, the project runs very differently compared to a BIM model that is produced somewhere in the background with little or no interaction from the designers. Until professionals work directly with the BIM model, we risk miscommunication between the two. So what is stopping the designer's intent and the BIM model from matching up? Professionals are saying, trust in the BIM model. Is the BIM model a reliable source of information? As we move to a BIM workflow, we see a lot of 2D drawings being converted into a BIM model. The designer draws their design on CAD and then passes it to the BIM modeler. It's common practice, but what is really happening with this workflow? Here are a couple of issues with using 2D CAD designs to update a BIM model. Outdated information and disconnection. Now here's an example. If my designer gives me new drawings for me to update the BIM model, does design stop until I complete the BIM model? I don't think so. So as the BIM modeler updates the BIM model, the designers continue working hard on their 2D CAD drawings, furthering their design. But until I get the designs and the new updated drawings, the BIM model is always catching up. What we want to see is something more like this. A designer needs some sort of authoring ownership over the BIM model. A designer knows their design intent and can update the BIM model directly. With design information coming from the BIM model, professionals can trust the model to give their professional feedback and further their design. And as a designer, I can respond instantly. If designer and BIM model are separated, then miscommunication will burden the design development. So our goal is to bridge the gap between designer and BIM model. Who else are using Revit? You can become an expert user without a professional qualification. So until designers and professionals are skilled in the art of Revit modeling, then the BIM modeler should be your best friend in the office. Clients are unlikely to open Revit, but you may want to grant clients and stakeholders access to an overview of the project as it develops. BIM 360 and collaboration with Revit is like a front seat ticket to your design. So if you're a designer, you want to trust the BIM model and provide a model which you can confidently show to the client. To get a trustworthy model, you need to work towards professionals having a direct input in the model, even if that is through a BIM modeler. We don't want to be updating the BIM model using 2D CAD drawings. Putting training to the designers to use, putting training designers to Revit. Designers editing the BIM model is a step in the right direction, but there is still a lot of friction in setting up a smooth workflow and designing with multiple collaborators across multiple locations. The LAN is the most common and straightforward setup right now, the in-house server which stores all the files for your project, including the central model. External teams will have their own LAN. And if you work with external designers, you may collaborate and share BIM models over a file sharing site or physically over a USB or a CD. But there is always a security concern. If you're worried about security, you can invest in a separate server to connect offices over a wide area network. However, all this investment is still just a faster way to pass documents from A to B. Up until this point, your central models are not communicating with each other or other offices. It's still a game of passing the BIM model to someone and waiting for its return. And remember, design never stops, which means someone is always playing catch up. With Revit Server, you can allow users across different offices to synchronize to a central BIM model. This setup gives you, the designer, the latest information to all the BIM models in the project. As we can see, each setup improves on collaboration and communication between internal and external teams. With improved workflows, we can further our designs as part of a team, which is our goal for a realistic and practical workflow. Okay, so here I count 4 servers. Keep that in mind. Let's see what BIM 360 and collaboration for Revit can do to improve our current workflows. Autodesk BIM 360 has seen success among contractors and construction management firms. As the graphic shows, the platform also provides a great deal of value to architects and engineers, as well as owners and developers. BIM 360 is an online platform for you and your team to share the latest project information. BIM 360 is a suite of products by Autodesk to accelerate project delivery and manage risk. The suite includes Collaboration for Revit and BIM 360 Team. For design stage, Collaboration for Revit and BIM 360 Team are available to improve our communication channels and information deliverables. So this is BIM 360 Team. It is the online area where the project teams can share their information. Not only does each member get an overview of the whole project, but you can personally tag team members to important comments and markups. Your current FTP server or current cloud storage may not open specific BIM-related file types. With BIM 360, it supports 60+ file types to view directly within your web browser. There's no additional software required. Here are some useful file types to view on the go. So having all these file types available through my web browser means I can open a file anywhere on my mobile device, comment on the file, and share it to a specific team member or within the BIM 360 team environment. It can also store your Revit models. With Collaboration for Revit, BIM 360 team can be the host for your central model, as I'll explain later. So on the left, you see me playing with the SketchUp file in my web browser, and on the right is playing on a Navisworks file, all on the BIM 360 team. The toolbars at the bottom gives me a range of design review tools such as markup, sections, and exploded view. Starting from the design stage, drawings and supporting documents can be uploaded and collaboration can begin right from the get-go. You can simply upload the latest information as soon as you receive it. With BIM 360 team, with the BIM 360 team app on your mobile device, you can upload documents directly from your email simply by importing the BIM 360 simply import with BIM 360 team to begin uploading the attachment to your project area. So when construction documents begin to pile up, keeping track can become increasingly challenging. But as long as the BIM 360 team can keep up to date, then any project member can get the latest document they need whenever and wherever they need it. It can also help us record version history, useful when we want to compare design changes and find data on drawing revisions, or provide a library of documents for later in the project. BIM 360 Team is also available as an app on iOS and Android. So BIM 360 gives us direct access to common models and project data, giving your project team a feed of the latest team and activity. For Revit users, you can manage online models using the Collaboration for Revit connection inside Revit. So to demonstrate Collaboration for Revit, I'm going to play a short video of a team composed of architects, structural engineers, and MEP designers. The team are all using Collaboration for Revit to further their design directly inside Revit. We start with very enthusiastic architects responding to the principal architect's comment on their design, on their current design.
Hello, everyone. I'm Greg. Everything that I'll be doing in this demonstration will be highlighted by an orange border around my workspace. In this scenario, I've just received an email from the principal designer that the square footage of rooms 1201 and 1301 need to be increased. Before I make the change, I can alert the whole team by the communicator tool. This tool is great because it offers team chat capabilities within the Revit environment. As I begin to make the requested modifications, I notice that my colleague Paul is in the same architectural model and currently owns the walls that I wish to move. Paul and I are in the same office, but rather than send him an email or walk down to his cubicle to request access, I'll just send him a request and a quick note via the communicator tool. Paul, did you get my request?
Indeed, I did, Greg. For everyone in the audience, all of my actions will be highlighted by the green border in my workspace. Greg, I see your request and I'll grant you access to those walls. I'll also reply via communicator tool to confirm that you have access as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Paul. I see that the request has been granted and will finalize the request to modify the rooms by moving these specific walls over 2 feet. With these changes, I'll update the architectural model so that my other teammates can see that it's been updated. I'll also capture a screenshot and send it via the communicator tool so that everyone on the project can see the specific change. Mindy, as a structural engineer who's leveraging the architectural model for your sure this modification will have an impact on you as well.
So as you saw, Collaboration for Revit is built into the Revit user interface. One of the features we see with Collaboration for Revit is the Communicator tool. The Communicator tool provides us with a great overview of the model design changes. We can communicate with each other, communicate with each team member, and share screenshots without having to leave the Revit window. If the user is active, the chat function is like using WhatsApp. Modeling can seamlessly continue without us giving us a smooth design workflow. The business value of the Communicator tool is the in-context communication. Say exactly what you want with the communication tools inside the Revit environment. A big step in collaboration is the cloud-based workflow. We can now save the central model onto the BIM 360 team in the cloud. Not only that, we can also link cloud-based models together. This means external designers can get involved in the design changes within their own models, or from their desk as soon as there is a design change. The workflow is the same as Revit Server. However, now you don't need to invest in your own servers. BIM 360 Team is a cloud solution removing major IT investment. And because you can see the models on BIM 360 Team, you can always have access to the latest design, even without Revit. Sharing BIM models with external designers streamlines the design process for all the designers involved. The previous video finished with the architects notifying the structural engineer of design changes. Let's pick up from where we left off.
Indeed, it does, Craig. Hello, everyone. I'm Mindy, the structural engineer. My firm is on the other side of town, but A360 Collaboration for Revit gives me complete project access, no matter where I am. Before I begin, I want to point out to everyone that all my actions are being illustrated by the light blue border around my workspace. Greg, I see your note, and I also noticed that the architectural model is being synchronized. I'm going to reload the latest architectural model by going to my Manage Link option. While I'm waiting for the link to update, I can see the screen capture of your changes. Luckily, this change won't require a complete rework on my structural design. I can update my structural model to accommodate this change rather easily by simply moving a few columns and beams. To modify the location of the columns, I'll simply move column grid 11 over 2 feet. I'll also need to adjust the beams that are next to these columns. I'll have to do this twice to account for both level views of the roof. With the changes in place, I'll do a quick review of the update in 3D to make sure everything is accurate. Everything looks good. I'll just notify the team of my update via the communicator tool before I synchronize my model update, complete with a brief description of my specific model changes. I should also point out that all of the activity associated with this project, including model syncs and comments, is being captured in the Project tab, which acts like an archive and keeps everyone updated. Now I'm going to turn it over to Paula, our MEP engineer. I'm sure that you'll like to weigh in on these project changes.
With a built-in communicator inside Revit, you can now keep track of the BIM model with a timeline of activity. The communicator can also display the timeline of the Revit files on your BIM 360 team. Left is a screenshot. You can see the timeline of your active model. And on the right is the timeline of when the architecture, structure, and MEP models were synchronized with Central. With a connected team, the project designers can respond to changes as soon as they happen within the Revit model, reducing the chance of working with outdated information. When professionals are the BIM modelers, the in-context communication tools allow you to speak directly with the other professionals to get the job done. That means in-house and external teams work under one roof with the goal of a single source of truth. Let's continue the video with the MEP designer responding to the architectural and the structural changes.
Like the other project members, all of my on-screen actions are color-coded. My border color is purple. I see both Greg's and Mindy's communication of their model changes via the communicate tool. I'll just respond that I'll check to see how their changes may impact my MEP design. I'll just wait a moment for both models to synchronize by going to the project update.
5 minutes.
As soon as the updates are done, I'll reload the latest update. Once the update is complete, Revit notifies me that a coordination review is necessary. So I'll go to the ceiling plan view to adjust the diffusers and light fixtures to match the room change. I can move the diffusers to optimize the airflow through the room and move the lighting for better illumination.
Okay. So this is the old way of collaborating with external teams. This is the new cloud solution way. It gives access to a central model anywhere we are. Collaboration with Revit allows us to edit the BIM model. And BIM 360 team allows us non-Revit users to comment on the latest model. So for the final video, let's just see how the principal architect, what he has to say about how his design intention resolved.
So, Autodesk 360 collaboration for Revit is a great tool for project collaboration. It ensured that everyone had access to the latest models, whether they were within my firm or members of the extended design team at the other firms. That ability is great, but as the principal of my firm, I especially like its ability to allow me to track updates via my mobile device. As you can see, here is my initial request to adjust the size of the rooms. Now that I know that all of the updates have been modeled, I can look at the model on my mobile device in 3D. I have full access. I can rotate, pan, and zoom. I can also look at all of the sheets associated with this project. This mobile access is perfect for me because I'm rarely in the office. With Autodesk 360 collaboration for Revit, project access and updates are available to me whenever and wherever I need it.
So a tool you didn't get to see inside the BIM model is the ability to keep a track of changes inside the BIM 360 team environment. With a few clicks, we can compare two different versions of a published model. Here are the changes between version 2 and version 4 of an architectural model. It offers insight into very precise design changes, such as the door panel width has changed to 900 millimeters. All of this without having to leave your web browser. So how does C4R and BIM 360 team compare? It supports 60 plus file formats, all viewed from a single location through your web browsers. So enabling anyone on the design team, regardless of the tools they use, to collaborate effectively. You can search for design details within the design model, as well as comments and posts, making it easier to answer questions about your project. We can model in real time, making design understanding less problematic, cutting down on outdated information. In-depth design review tools such as sections, exploded views, revision clouds, and dimensions are all standard in Revit, but also in BIM 360 team. BIM 360 team and collaboration for Revit is a true cloud-based solution. There is no additional software, and synchronization with your model on BIM 360 team works directly inside Revit. It requires no add-ons, and BIM 360 team is a one-stop process that doesn't require any intermediate step. When the project interaction happens inside BIM 360 team, the process becomes seamless, which is exactly what ACAI an architecture firm was interested in when exploring for a hospital project in South Florida. So ACAI was exploring more connected ways to work. Their project required close coordination with medical equipment consultants and engineers. ACAI heard about a new service from Autodesk. At the time, it was called Project Skyscraper, now known as BIM 360 Collaboration for Revit. So ACAI originally planned to exchange BIM models at the end of each week. They also planned whenever issues came up, the teams would communicate through phone calls and emails between coordination sessions. So Autodesk helped the project teams get started, and ACAI and its partners began using the solution immediately. With more than 20 team members, the integrated communicator tool helped teams stay connected in real time. When they planned to do significant changes, they could see who was online from other firms and communicate with them. ACAI found themselves saving time and working more efficiently. They no longer needed to wait to receive the next version of the model, saving them as much as a day a week. Newman architects, who are also an architectural firm, use Revit as the primary design tool. They face challenges with synchronizing their large models over a VPN between their two offices. The firm's IT director started to investigate network opportunities that can speed performance across wide area networks, but these proved expensive and needed further investment. Another issue was that work sharing across networks were becoming the norm, and the host company must shoulder the significant IT burden of cost and support. So in 2014, they began using collaboration for Revit. They found that they could open and save Revit central files in the cloud virtually in the same amount of time as it does on their local area network. Previously, they were using VPN and virtual desktops. It took users up to 2 to 5 minutes to open or save their work. All those delays quickly add up. But after implementing collaboration with Revit, the estimated savings approximately 2 hours a day. Collaboration with Revit made the process of setting up and sharing Revit files with remote employees and outside consultants extremely simple. And it's completely scalable. With the subscription service Autodesk provides, they were able to add and subtract users depending on their need. And they didn't have to worry about significant IT investment if a new consultant came on board. From an IT point of view, collaboration with Revit in the cloud offered outstanding value without having to purchase additional software or deal with hardware maintenance issues. So just to sum up, avoid costly IT investment. C4R gives in-context communication. With BIM 360 team, we can connect all project members with 60+ file types from a single web browser, and all in a secure cloud environment. More information about the security you can find at Autodesk Trust Center. Thank you for attending this presentation, and I hope you found it useful. Thank you.